Hey everybody, welcome to the DPOAA podcast. Here with Cassidy.
Hi.
Why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
I'm 24 years old. I am a graduate at UNR for my bachelor's in psychology and a minor in human development and family resources. I have been studying since 2018-19. So I've basically been doing that for most of my life. I go to Dolan Toyota and I work as a BDC rep as well. And I've been doing that for about 4 years of my life.
What's that?
BDC.
Yeah, what's that?
That is a business development representative. So I basically make service appointments for everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, been working with them for about 4 years. And it's been pretty interesting and pretty fun. Definitely learned a lot about cars. And I know because of Dad, that's his favorite thing.
Yeah, he loves cars. That guy knows a lot of facts about a lot of cars.
Yes, he does. A lot of old cars, too. Not as much. I don't know a lot about old cars.
But he sold... He didn't... There was one time where he sold at several different dealerships.
Yes, definitely.
So, when you work at a dealership, you're gonna need to pick up, some facts about cars. So when you're talking to people, you kind of have, an idea.
Yeah.
Instead of going, here's something that moves you from place to place. Here's an engine, tires, the shell of the car, doors, seatbelts. Oh, that's... Yeah, it's different.
Yes, it is. It really is. And I took part of that from Dad. He definitely wanted me to be in the car business. I think he wanted me to be a salesman, but I was like, I think I'll go for service.
I think that's cool. I think that's a good move because sales... your dad has this natural thing towards being in sales. I'm like, no, put me at the desk in customer service. I'm cool.
Yep.
I don't want to have that pressure of basically hey, you need to hit this car amount is sold per month.
Oh yeah.
I would rather just be like, oh yeah, you want to come and look at our car and be like, hey, or just help people through the final paperwork. That's cool. But no, I couldn't imagine trying to sell a really expensive vehicle. Just no.
No, and to have to make up a story, to be like, hey, this is why you should be in this car and this is what you should see.
Do you go camping? You need a Jeep.
Exactly. And we, the Dolans own about 7 different dealers.
Yeah, they're massive.
Yes, they are a huge corporation and they are true to their statement of Dolan family. They really care about their employees and they really care about
Interesting that you say that because for the longest time for me, I thought, well, do they really?
Yes, they do. They really do. They've given us so many things. We have had bonus checks. We have had turkeys for Thanksgiving, just frozen turkeys that the employees can go get.
That's
and
cool.
If you don't get your turkey, you can actually choose to donate it. So then people who, can't afford it.
That's amazing to hear that because you hear about car companies say, hey, we care about you. And then, you're like, no, you don't.
Yeah. It's like,
it's just a media thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's interesting that you say that because a lot of things in the media can get twisted around.
Yes.
Big time. And a lot of companies will say something just to get that good press to be like, hey, yeah, we sure care about these people and they're sure part of our family. Oh, definitely. And then they go at the camera clicks off and they're like, I don't give a crap.
Yep.
That was just for the media. And to hear that they actually do care, that's an interesting fact.
Yes, they are very true to that statement of the Dolan family. And it's because they were created in a whole Dolan family, literally, they were the father, Tom, was the first person to go out there and be like, hey, I want to make a business and I want to do a dealership and I want to create something. So he grabbed Toyota and then was like, let's do it. And then the boys learned from their father,
Yeah.
and then it just grew from there.
Because I think I saw an ad on YouTube for their dealership.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are smart. They are like, we need to go where the eyes are.
Yep.
And YouTube is something that definitely has massive amounts of eyes on.
Yes.
So they're like, oh, let's just pump this ad out.
Yeah.
And I see ads like that. I'm like, wow. You know, it's fascinating that they decide to do a new form of marketing. They know that trends change.
Yes.
They know that like TV and cable and like newspaper and stuff, they're like, yeah, we're still gonna advertise in there, but a big part I probably think is probably going to getting their video out on YouTube and different where, because the eyes need to see them.
Yep. And that's where they go. They like to do YouTube. Oh, and commercials, of course.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's just they're smart in keeping that the eyes, because that's important. I mean, like radio still gets some sort of traffic, but a lot of traffic now is going to podcasts.
Yes, very true.
A lot of traffic is, and it's starting to build. And for your dad and I, we just kind of talk about whatever we want to, and that's what a podcast to me like really is. We go unscripted, and yeah, there's going to be some moments where you're like bumbling around in your head trying to figure out what to say, but that's a human and not an android. Yeah. So yeah, you're always going to have that, like, oh, what should I talk about? So what made you want to go into the field of therapy? Because that is something that is I would say is a challenging choice. Not anybody could do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you go, okay, I feel like I really want to put effort and time and like, because, you know, when you choose something that you're passionate about in life, you need to have that passion, right? Yes. So because it will keep you sustaining in the long run.
Yeah.
What was it? I know a little bit, but whatever you feel comfortable about talking about, you don't have to get into super specifics, okay? Mm-hmm. But kind of help them understand why you chose that field.
Well, as you know, I, of course, come from a divorced family, so that was definitely difficult being a child through parents that just couldn't see eye to eye. And, you know, my dad has talked about it before, talking about mom and everything.
Yeah.
And, you know, they can view it from their side, but they can't view it from a child's side. And in my eyes, I was always in a war zone. I was always seeing, you know, here's my mother, here's my father, make a choice. And if you don't make that choice, you are always going to see, here's your mom, here's your dad. And going through that as a child, I just really had to understand how to be resilient and be more able to understand others' compromises that they've had to make with their lives. And I think going through that, I was like, you know what? I can see a lot more people struggling with this. I can see people who go through divorced families, and I can see that they really want to get help, and they want to understand, how do I get out of this war zone? And I was like, you know what? I think therapy is my best outlet because I have the knowledge. I got out of it. I put myself in a better position and have gone, through schooling, gone with relationships, and I've learned through those steps how to better myself and better prepare myself for life. So I think more people need to understand that and more people need to do that. And I want to be able to help guide them to that. That's basically where I come from when it goes to therapy and why I really, really am so passionate and caring about others, because I know everyone's had struggles, and going through divorce or going through molestation, even in that, it's hard when you don't
Yeah.
have someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some very rough moments with my mother, and it took counseling to get me through that because I didn't feel super comfortable about talking about some of the things with family,
Yeah.
especially, and also talking to friends about it. I didn't feel comfortable. I just, just when you get into details about certain things, it's like you need somebody that is from that total outside perspective that has no like interest in your life beyond therapy, like strictly talking about your issues. That was very important to me.
Yes, and it is. You need someone that's non-biased, someone that can look at you and say, okay, this is what you're going through. Here is what I think you should do. Here is what the path might be for you. But I can't give that answer. You have to come to that conclusion yourself. And it's better to have somebody that helps you get to those steps than it is to just say, oh, I'm going through this whole change in my life. I'm going through these problems, and I'm just going to sit there and fester in it instead of going to somebody and saying, hey, help me out. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I want to be in life. I don't know what I want to do in life. Help me to understand myself so that when I do know where I'm going and what I'm doing, I'm there. I can figure it out. I don't need the guidance, but I can go to it,
Yeah, I do. I do. You're really smart. That was good. No, that was good. That was a good answer. Wow. Here I'm saying wow again. That's crazy. So, therapy is somewhat looked at in, do you think still people kind of look at it when people are having mental issues, do you think they still look at it as in that person's like crazy, or like it looked at it in oh, you're going to therapy, really? Do you think that is still something that is the view of a lot of different people?
Yeah, therapy, I mean, if you look at the history of it, we have a bad rap. We've done some things in therapy that were not kosher, were not good. We had lobotomies, we had shock therapy. We've changed those things. And we've put people in better institutions, but they're still institutions. We have had to do things to people that the world deems unnecessary. And we have been given a bad rap for it, like therapists. Oh, if you're going to a therapist, all they want is your money. Trust me, if someone is wanting to help you, it's not for your money. It's for you. Because it's a lot of schooling. It's a lot of practicing and being able to understand people.
Yep.
And you can't put a price on that.
Nope.
You really can't.
No, you can't. And when you say that people think, oh, they're just taking your money. Did you know that most insurances only pay a fraction of a percentage of the actual amount of your total amount of visit? So when when I hear, oh, it's just all about the... No. Because
No.
if a therapist really wanted to make money, like a lot of money, they would be a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Where they're just like, meds? Cool. Here you go.
Yeah.
And then pharmaceutical come boom, boom, boom. It's all there. And yeah, there's some people that need to be on medicines, right?
Yes.
That's obvious.
Obvious.
For their own safety and the
Yes.
safety of everyone else.
Yes.
But if you really wanted to make money, that's what you would do. That's honest. My therapist that I see, she's like, yeah, if I really wanted to make a lot of money, I could have gone and done a psychiatrist. So what made you not want to go that route?
I'm just not a med person. I do know a lot about the medicines that are necessary, and I do agree that if you absolutely need it, you absolutely need it. But I've seen the differences in it, and I've seen how people react to certain medications, and I've seen how easily we are able to give out medication. And to me, you can go through therapy without meds. You can also go through meds without therapy. So you have to have a balance. And if you don't have that balance, that's when things become a little twisty and turny. I don't like meds because I've seen what they've done to others in my life, and I've never, never really liked them.
I've been on one mental medication, and that was well over 15 years ago. And I didn't go on another one because I was like, I just got into counseling and I started really thinking about my thoughts, and eventually I had workers come into my house and we would go and do things. So it's like that much intensity of counseling really made my mind shift. And eventually I'm only down to one counselor once a week, where before I had like 5 mental health people in my life because my mind wasn't right.
Yeah. And you can get to that point where your mind is so messed up that you feel you need medicine for it because that's the only thing, you haven't tried. And in my opinion, I just believe that there are so much more you can do with your mind that doesn't involve messing with it by giving it meds. You can do so much more with it because it is so extravagant. It's so wonderful. There are so many things that people don't know about their brain that when they do have mental issues or mental health problems, learn about their brain through those. And so I just think medicine is not my thing. I would rather be able to help someone and tell them, hey, I notice you're having these problems. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's get to the root cause of it. And then if we can't get past that root cause, or if we're stuck, okay, then I can refer you to somebody who may be able to give you that mental health med that you are needing at the moment. But then let's come back. Let's try and get you on a path where you don't need that mental med.
Well, the cool thing is so after I had my pump installed to help me with my cerebral palsy, my mind was like now able to like look at different things and like experience different emotions, except one emotion, which is pain.
Yeah.
And so I was able to look at all those things differently, but it took counseling and people. Like I had 2 workers come to my house, pick me up in their car. We would go fishing, and then we would go to the store one day and just people watch, and or we'd go where the pond and ducks are in Carson, and just kind of like do that. And that was something that kind of helped me reset, because I was like, one moment we went to see a race out in, I think, like Fallon, and Fernley or Fallon, just way out there. And we were at the track, and I started to get this like anxiety feeling where I wanted to just like get up and scream. Like I I'm better at handling my emotions now. But back then I was a wreck, and he's like, just sit down, relax, take a deep breath. And I was like, no. Like, I was just like mumbling under my breath and just being like, this is BS. And he's like, just sit down. And I sat down and I was like, okay, just closed my eyes, took some deep breaths, and eventually, like, my mind shifted. But in that, like, 5 to 10 minutes of an anxiety attack, it felt like the world was, like, crashing down.
Oh, yeah, and it will, especially with those moments. Like, you'll feel like everything around you is just trying to destroy you. And it's like, just calm, just sit with it. And that's what he was wanting you to do. Sit with it. Instead of avoiding it, instead of running from it, letting it control you, sit with it.
My default is a run away from it.
Run away from it. And that's everybody. I mean, nobody wants to deal with something. You know, you don't want to deal with depression. You don't want to deal with anger. You don't want to deal with anxiety. You don't want to deal with fear. But if you sit with it and you feel it, you start to realize, I can control it. It will not control me. And that's what you want to do, control it. Because then you have that ability to say, oh, the next time I feel this, I know what it is. I'm going to sit with it, let it kind of fester if it needs to, and then I'm going to do what I want to do instead of let it do to me what it wants to do.
But it feels so real.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my mind's like freak out right now. Like, and it's like, it took every ounce of my energy to be like, well, I gotta, okay, just, and then I'm like, just like, like, I'm like, I hate this crap right now. I want to, like, get out of this place. And then eventually, after like 5 to 10 minutes, it was gone. It was like, I was back to me.
Yeah.
So, but those moments, like, yeah, you think, oh, I could take a medication. Oh, that's, and then no more anxiety. But then what about the next time? And the next time, are you going to take a pill every single time? Because you're going to overdose.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of attacks during the day and you have an anxiety, you're just going to overdose.
Yeah.
If you take, here's another, I have an anxiety attack. I have an anxiety. You're like, that prescription was supposed to last a month and now it's gone. And you're like within a couple days, and I'm lucky to be alive from that. But it's like, you kind of have to understand a coping skill, right? Yeah. So like, whatever's in your head, even if you're on medication, will find its way back to the forefront of your mind.
Yes.
Is that true?
It does. It can. And the medication is basically there as a quick fix. It's an immediate
So it's
stop.
not, you know how like antidepressant commercials, they have the smiling. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
They're like, I'm so happy.
Like,
I'm always happy. Shit's not real.
No.
Like, you can't go through life all like, everything is all happy. No.
And you can't mask it either, and that's what a lot of them do. It masks the problem. That's why, as a therapist, you want to get to the root of the problem instead of mask it. And that's what the medicine will do. It will mask the problem instead of get to the root. And if you always are masking the problem every single time, when you don't mask it, it will increase. It'll get worse because then you will be constantly taking a medicine to mitigate it. And then when you don't have that medicine to mitigate, it'll all of a sudden feel like the worst feeling ever. It'll be times 1,000 of what you felt for that 5 minutes.
Yeah, but the thing is like, anxiety or like depression, and you see those commercials are like, here this person's going through a rough moment, then they put a smile on their face and they're like, well, if this medication doesn't work for you, add this additional so people are stacking antidepressants on antidepressants on antidepressants. That's not healthy, right?
No, it's not. I mean, there are a lot of meds you can take, and there are a lot of meds you shouldn't take. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do what they give you.
Yeah.
But you should also do your research into what they're giving you. There's a whole thing about St. John's wort. And the medicine itself, it's not really a medicine, it's literally an herbal supplement.
Yeah.
And, some people are taking it and they're perfectly fine. Other people, they're having adverse reactions. But that's the same with any medicine, any pill, any vitamin, anything you take can give you a problem. It's just you are the person taking it, see what it does, and then you find out, oh, I can take this or I can't. It's not saying nobody can take it. It's just saying you should watch and do the research if you're going to take it.
Well, and there's different, there's tons of different medical, companies that make different antidepressants, right? So, and they have different formulations. So some people will have to try different ones to see which one works best.
Yeah.
But when I started seeing commercials add a depression on top of an antidepressant, I went...
counterintuitive.
I went, my brain was like, this doesn't compute. What are you trying to do? Flood the body in the mind of so many different things that hopefully something sticks?
Basically, it's like a try this and see what works, or try this, 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 and this and see what works. It's, nothing is foolproof. Everything has a way of it. So you can do certain things and you can try certain things, but it doesn't mean it's going to always work. You just have to try it and see what happens. And then if there's a bad thing that happens, then never try it again, go to something else. But the way I see us working with meds nowadays is try all of these and then see what happens.
Yep.
And it's like, no, don't do that. Because if you do that, then you're going to find out your body is adversely reacting to everything. Because you're putting something in it that it's not able to get used to. And then, now it's not used to it. Now you're not used to the side effects you're feeling from it. And it's just, okay, let's take another one. Let's take another one. Let's try this. Let's try that. And people are so easily convinced that doctors know best. And while yes, a lot of doctors do, a lot of doctors don't. It's
you have to find the right team of doctors. Yes. So with me and all my medical issues, I found the right doctors.
Exactly.
Great doctors. I do. I'm lucky. A lot of people find really not great doctors. Yeah. And you got to know when to walk away from that office and go find somebody else. Yeah. But for the most part, I think mental health and talking in therapy and having all those different workers come into my life was really beneficial, because it made me go, one day we just sat down and colored. Because he knew I liked art and I like creating things. So he's like, let's just sit down and color. Not talk, let's just sit down and color.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to go, in that whole time, that whole hour, I was present in what I was doing. And I understand how important it is to stay present.
Yes.
When you have a lot of thoughts going in your brain, you got to try to remember to stay in the present, because these thoughts up here, they can be destructive, and you got to know to tell them, hey, just go away.
Yeah.
And by coloring, it allowed my mind to go just into that activity, and it made me realize how important it is to do that, but also have an outlet.
Exactly.
A lot of people with mental conditions and medical conditions, they go to doctors and they come home and they don't really have an outlet. And I think what I'm creating with your dad is a good outlet for a lot of people, because it can show them why don't you record and do things? If you don't, like, what's something that you like doing and record that?
Yeah.
Like, YouTube has been a way for a lot of people to reach a lot of homes that they never thought they could.
Yes. And we're in such a creative world. There are so many people that are becoming creative and realizing the creativity potential that they have with the podcast, with just short clip videos, with TikTok, with
Yep.
Vine, with Instagram, with
Yep.
all of those platforms that everybody is learning about and seeing that, it's not just about likes, it's not about this or that. It's about the creativity you put out and that you showcase to others that they can see and be like, oh, this might, influence me to do my own video, do my own movie, do my own show. And it's just huge now because we are finding so many people that are out there creating amazing masterpieces from just sitting in their houses.
Well, it's funny because I took a gamble on a lot of this equipment. I sold some of my investments that I had, and I was like, either I put that money into my creativity engine and I continue to create content, or I just don't anymore. And there was one step where I had to get some upgraded stuff for my computer, and I needed it like immediately. But I'm in a position where I couldn't do that, so I was like, okay, here we go. Let's just take this risk.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I did. I really am, because to me, that says a lot, because I took that jump into myself. I went, you know what? I think I want to do this. And I just put a lot of effort into it. And it's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of learning to it. And obviously I'm still getting better. It's a work in progress. So do you think that for people in general starting something, do you think that starts in the mind and then goes through action? Like putting action? Like they have that thought, they're like, oh, I want to create something, and then they put action into it. Does that reward the brain?
It does. It really does, because especially when you see that whatever action you put through. So say you want to create a movie and you go and create that movie, and even if not the whole world watches it, but you still see 10 or 20 people watching it on YouTube or wherever the platform is that you put it, you see people enjoy it, you see people love it, and then you're like, oh, okay, I can keep doing this, because it rewards you. It gives you this sense of a dopamine rush where you're like, yes.
So then it's kind of like a drug in a way. Yeah. So, but in that, there are some side effects, which is good, but if it doesn't hit, people judge their video on I didn't get many views. And I'm like, that's not the point.
No.
The point is that consistency.
Yes.
Right? So with your dad and I just started chopping up all the videos, putting them out there. And at first, I got 200 views, 300 views. And then 9 months later, most of those videos have thousands of views each video. Yeah. So it's you can't initially look at something and go, oh, it's never going to get any views.
Yeah.
Because that's not a healthy way to look at it.
No.
You got to look at it from consistency and giving time and letting YouTube's algorithm kind of pick up your content in a way, because they push things that have a corporate friendly image. That's when the big corporations kind of can really put more money into your area of what you're dealing with, because companies are very concerned about where their ad is being viewed on a certain video or not. They will freak out, because then other people will be like, why is your ad on this video?
Yep.
When you have nothing connected with them, or you're just like sitting there scratching your head going like, how did my video get on top of this?
Exactly. And people don't realize, the big corporations, they're big corporations because of the money they have, the influence they have, but little corporations can become big.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how little you are, because all these major ones were little. Google, he was little.
Very
and it was
much.
created by two guys,
Yep.
And that became something huge. So
massive amount of hugeness.
Exactly. If you see it as, oh my gosh, I didn't get this many views. Okay, cool. You didn't get this many views. Try something different. Do something else, but still create your creativity and allow others to see it. And then people will see it, the right audience will see it, and then it didn't matter if you didn't get 20 or 30 views. You have 300 now from that audience. And then you cater to the audience that wants to see what you put out.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to tell you is, when I took photos, I got to tell people about this. When I took photos at the Nevada Day Parade, I really took some good ones, like really good. And Cassidy here, I'm going to take pictures of her wedding, her whole wedding. And it's crazy because there's a lot of like, I know I'm going to do great. I know I'm going to do amazing.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to be taking a lot of photos, basically from the very beginning to the end of the day. And I think that will be good to have that, because a lot of photographers that you reached out to and got quotes from, there were only blocks of time, and they won't do some of the creative things that I have planned in my head. But here's the thing, they got there. Yeah. And so this right here is, to me, is like, all right, so I got like tons of these like classic wedding shots I'm going to take, and I'm going to be running around like crazy.
Yep.
People are going to be like, why are you taking a photo? Like, man, shut up.
Like, smile and just stay there.
Like, just shh. And like, it's just, to me, it's an honor that you even, that you wanted me to do that, because I was like blown away. I was like sitting at home. I was like, okay. Deep breath.
Breathe.
This is insane. Because this is going to open up so many creative doors.
Of course.
So many.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to look at those photos and go, whoa. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to take video. I'm going to have my buddy come with me and help me, and he's going to have my other camera. So I can possibly also make a montage video too. So it's like I have a bunch of things planned in my head for this. And it's just, it's exciting because, and I'm going to be also taking photos of you at the graduation, and that's going to be another time for me to show you like, this guy's, he's going to knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to see the graduation photos and just see the wedding photos.
I know. You're going to be sitting there going like,
I'm going to cry.
Oh, yeah, that's what I told you.
Yep.
And those moments of those wedding photos are going to be, I'm going to be a part of your life, not only family-wise, but like the guy that took my wedding photos.
Yeah.
Like, there's moments in life where you realize why, like, your dad always tells me, David, stay positive. We're going to get this. We're going to do this. And finally, last night, it clicked in my head.
Mm-hmm.
It just all of a sudden clicked.
Mm-hmm.
It went off, and that's when your dad was quiet for like 10 to 15, just didn't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because it clicked in my head, I went, I get what you finally were trying to teach me.
Yep.
I get why you're like, David, if we're going on this big journey that we always talk about, we need to stay positive.
Yes.
We need to stay focused on
Yes.
it. And that's how the vision becomes reality.
Exactly.
Because he's like, if you have negative thoughts towards it, if you're like, oh, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Because you'll make it not happen.
Even if it doesn't happen in the way you think it's supposed to happen, but it happens, you need to also remain positive.
Yep.
Because what if then that door opens to what you were, another spot to go to?
Yep.
Like, it's all about how you look at it. And for me, looking around me, I'm like, this is amazing, and I wish other people could find their passion.
Me too. I really do wish others could, explore their passions. Like for me, I've put a lot on the side for wanting to do therapy and for wanting to be someone who helps others. But I mean, I have a passion for singing. Always have, always will. And there have been opportunities my dad has given me that I've done and tried to do, and it didn't turn out the way I wanted them to. And of course, they didn't turn out perfectly, but they still gave me a foot in the door, and I still have that ability to keep going with that foot in the door and still strive to do the passion that I've always had, which is my singing. Dad'll tell you all about it, or he'll tell everybody else about it.
What made you want to sing, or when did you know that you could sing? Let me ask you that. When did you know you could sing?
It's a funny story. I was in Stead Elementary, and I was just little, and they had a tryout for the American National Anthem.
Okay.
And you could go out and sing it and do whatever you wanted to do. And I completely, at the time, was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. But I started singing under my breath, and one of my teachers heard me, and she was like, you, come here. And I'm like, what is happening? What did I do? I'm thinking I'm going to get in trouble and go to the principal's office for singing.
Yeah.
And she's like, you need to go with that group. They're going over to some teacher's class, and they're going to do a little, performance, do whatever they want to do, and you need to audition. And so I was like, okay, fine. So I went over there, and I auditioned, and they were like, yep, we want you in our talent show, and you're going to come in. And I was like, okay. So,
wow.
Like the age of maybe 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a talent show at Stead Elementary, and I just sang the national anthem, and everyone loved it. My parents were there. Everyone was just thinking I was the cutest little thing. And that was when I was told I had a voice, and that if I did something with it, I could really go far. But I always had different opinions as I got older. So I would go to high school and I would sing, and people would try to knock me down. I had choir, I had advanced choir, and I had other girls in there that were, oh, you can't sing, you can't do this, you think you can, but you can't. And it would affect me. And I would sit there and say, no, I can't sing, I don't know, I can't do this. And then...
So you self-doubted?
Oh, yeah. All the time. I would self-doubt because you hear people say, oh, you're amazing at singing, but then you're a child when you hear that. So you're like, they're just telling me that,
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to tell a child, oh, you suck,
No, they would be really rude.
Exactly.
They would be super rude.
But you question it because you're thinking, okay, I'm a child. People are going to say you sound good. And then as you get older, it's like, oh, you do sound good. But then you hear someone saying, no, you don't. You focus on that don't. Then you focus on the do. And I heard so many people say, oh my gosh, she sounds amazing. She should be in this and she should be doing this. And then I heard the one don't. You don't sound good. And that was the one don't that I kept. And that would make me shelter in myself. And I would just stay there and be like, no, I don't sing. I don't know what you're talking about. And as I got older and older and older and would go up to Virginia City and I would start singing, people would tell me, oh my gosh, you have such an amazing voice. You're so muffled though. Like it was hearing the don't that kept my voice from me. You could hear it in my voice that I was scared.
Say that again.
The voice, it muffled me basically. So people would say, hearing the don't muffled my voice.
Wow. So it's like that one thing of that one person saying made you go back into your shell, basically.
Yep, it did. And you could hear in my singing.
That's wild.
It was, yeah, they could hear it in my singing that I wasn't singing to my full potential. They knew I had that potential, but because of the one don't, and that you don't sing good, I wouldn't do it. I would hold back every single time, and people could tell. And as I got older and older and older, and I heard more people say, oh my gosh, she sounds amazing, I let go of the don't. I was like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care about that don't. I know what I can do.
So dropping the weight off allowed you to take off, basically. Yeah.
And
with that skill.
Yep.
See, that's fascinating. And we'll have to have you, like, do some sort of, like, something for our channel.
Okay.
I mean, why not?
He's like, come on.
Why not?
I could do
it. Here's the thing. You also write, right? Mm-hmm. So you sing and write.
Yes.
That, to me, is, like, amazing. Because some people can sing, right? And some people can write hit songs. Mm-hmm. It's hard to find someone that does both really well. Mm-hmm. Because writing is hard. I wrote a book and I published it on Amazon and it's poetry and stuff. And in a way, poetry is like music, right?
I agree.
Because there's that tone, there's the rhythm in each part of the poem.
Yes.
That if you sang that poem and it was a good poem, you could make it into a song. Like
you could.
And that's what I find fascinating. What do you write about and what do you sing about?
Relationships, love, life. Everything that you could possibly go through. I love to sing about. I've written songs about my fiance and just meeting him and learning through him about everything in the world. And I did write one song, I believe it's called When He Loves Me. And it's just a love song dedicated to him. And it's the one that I would love to sing, love to make into a song, because love songs are just so beautiful. They're so passionate.
Wouldn't you say that sometimes to truly find the one that's for you, you need to be okay within yourself?
Yes, 100%. Of course. You have to know who you are, to know who you want to be, and to know who you want to be and be to another person. Because if you don't have that, you don't have a relationship. You don't have a life to give to another person if you don't even know how to give a life to yourself.
And it's also, how do you treat yourself and how do you treat someone else? Because if you treat your partner like dirt, there's only a certain point that somebody can reach before they go like, I just can't do this.
Yeah. And there's a lot of, the world believing relationships that are just if it doesn't work out, end it. Like, no, if it doesn't work out, try more. If it doesn't work out, see what's going on that's being wrong to try and make it right.
Sometimes it's way too far past that point to fix.
True. There are some instances where if it's not going to be fixed, it'll never be fixed. But don't give up.
Yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. I do believe that you do need to be okay within yourself and know yourself, like you were saying. I think if you don't and you go into a relationship just going after the first thing, and you're just like, oh, automatically you meet someone and you super attached to them like a sponge, they're gonna rip that sponge off and throw it away. You gotta know how to pace.
Yes.
You have to know when to say things and when not to say things, and how to say them to someone else, and how to talk to someone else. Because if you talk to someone else the way you talk to this person or that person, your person that you're with is going to go, what the heck is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be okay within your own skin. But communication and the way you communicate is really important.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, art world is a funny world.
It is.
There's I talked to a couple of friends of mine, and I'm like, there's this canvas in an art museum in LA. It was just a black canvas. Or it was just a white canvas with nothing on it. Mm-hmm. And it sold for crazy money.
Really?
A lot of money. Millions.
Wow.
For a blank canvas. Huh. And they called it art. And because they were such a big artist, they just put their name on it. And I think they probably thought it was a joke. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this as a joke. Nobody's going to buy a blank canvas. And they're like, no way did I sell that.
And coming from your side, like art, what do you think about the artists that, do things like that?
I think they're not artists. You look around.
Yeah.
And look at the background. That is abstract art. That's art to me. You put effort into it. Mm-hmm. You put things in, you put energy into it. Mm-hmm. And that to me is art. To me, art is something with movement, something that kind of allows your perspective to change, or kind of is a trippy way to look at life. Mm-hmm. And so when I look at those, I'm kind of like, good for that artist that did that. They got a bunch of money for it. It's not art to me. Mm-hmm. It's art to that person.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's art. Mm-hmm. But some people could look at my stuff and say that's not art.
True.
But I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I really don't. It's like you hear about these music artists that, are just made from basically the factory, which is the record company. Mm-hmm. And, record companies are good, right, in some ways to give you that exposure. But I've seen a lot of people nowadays going into a record deal after having a lot of online presence. Mm-hmm. They got a bunch of views, and they went into the record company and said, I have this much traction. I am hitting these markets. These are my numbers. Yep. I don't really need you, but I need you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So they cut basically the middleman out of the picture and went directly to the company and went, okay, these are the markets. These are all the stats. Here's my songs that did well. Here's why they did well. then that record company will be like, oh, okay, we can give this person we can work with them. They can give us exposure. We can give them exposure.
Mm-hmm.
But they have more dealing power at the table.
Yes. And that's how it should be, in my personal opinion, especially when it comes to record companies.
Because then you make your own choice up.
Yes.
You make your own voice. You stay in the direction you want to go. Yep. You're not told. There's a famous rapper on YouTube I listen to all the time, Tom McDonald. He's amazing. He's awesome. He's great. He produces all of his stuff.
Yep,
he amazing. Writes all his stuff, and he's very successful, and he did not need a record deal.
Nope. He even actually finished writing up or autographing all of his CDs that he created and just printed and was like, I don't need a record company. I got this. Let's go.
He, like you just said, he printed his own, like, he took the whole industry and used a lot of the tools at home, and some of the videos, right, are crazy amazing. And I've actually reacted to a couple of them on my channel and stuff, and a couple of them got a decent amount of views. I think music like his really makes you think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, and I'm in the gym, or I'm like doing art, or I'm cleaning around my house, or I'm driving to a doctor's appointment. I turn on his music on a playlist on YouTube, and I listen to him, and it's amazing. He's speaking on so many issues that are super relevant, and he's just an amazing artist.
And he's not afraid to hit the hard-hitting points.
Mm-hmm.
And with having a record label and having a record company, he wouldn't even be able to touch those hard-hitting points. No, it's all about presence. It's all about how you look
your
to the world.
Image. Yep. In that world, your image is like so important.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that was interesting.
Fun.
Oh man, I'm telling you. It is a crazy world out there.
Yeah.
I'm glad you finally came over and wanted to do this podcast with me.
Yeah.
That's really cool, because this is what I really enjoy, and I love doing it, and I love being creative. And some of the people that your dad's introduced me to has just like, I've blown them away so much that, like, Harry and Helen, you know who I'm talking about, right? I paint with Helen at least once a week, and for hours.
That's awesome.
And Harry designed my icon on my Facebook and my Instagram, my YouTube. He's amazing. He does stuff that my brain's like, whoa, how the heck did you do that? Mm-hmm. So it's amazing to see how many different connections and how many different people, because of your dad, that now Harry and Helen's like, you can't ever get rid of us. We love you so much, and we care about you, David. And Harry did that.
I saw that. That looks amazing.
And it's really good. I understand now, like, all the things that your dad constantly teaches me. Mm-hmm. And how I teach him things, and how we make each other better, and we help each other in this journey.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. A lot of people don't have that.
No, they don't. They don't have what you and Dad have, where it's bouncing off of each other and understanding each other and seeing how each other works. And because Dad has his own ways, of course.
Yes.
You have your own ways.
Yes, I do.
And you get to balance those. And that's what's amazing. And a lot of people don't know how to do that with others.
And it also helps that, like, we have that connection
Oh, yes.
that we do throughout our family and about history and time. And it amazes me that I'm lucky enough to have the chance to do this with him.
Yeah.
Because he's opened my brain to realize, like, oh, yeah, we do have potential in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's the one that believed in me when other people were like, oh, this is stupid. It's a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go anywhere. What are you guys doing?
Yeah,
You know, that
yeah.
you're always going to hear that.
Yeah, you will.
No matter how big or small you get,
Yes, very true.
like, you're always going to hear somebody saying things.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to kind of realize, like, okay, and keep going on your journey. Keep filming, keep doing things. Like, I film and take pictures everywhere. Why? So that when I'm in certain situations, I can kind of have an idea of where I'm going to go about how about taking that image and how I'm, there's just certain things.
Yeah.
And being a creative person like that, to me, is amazing. And to have somebody like your dad, like, actually believe in me and actually stick with me. And, like, we talk about how he had a best friend. And they had lots of plans and lots of things. And now he looks at me and he's like, David, we're going. We're going somewhere, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take you. You're going to take me wherever we go. We're going. Mm-hmm. We're going somewhere. And somewhere, he's like, David's going to happen soon. I'm like, yeah, it will.
Yeah.
And then it, like, gets more intense. And we just, like, we realize the potential in what we're doing, basically.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people focus on numbers and where they don't realize sometimes people have connections that can even launch them to another level.
Yeah.
So, because he's always like, positivity, David, we could do this, we could do this. Like, he is so, like, like, Energizer Bunny, like 20,000, okay?
Yep.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, man,
like,
buddy.
Chill.
Please, just, would you pump the brakes?
My dad doesn't have brakes.
No.
He has accelerator and go really fast.
It's the truth. He's like, you're like, whoa, what happened to 10 miles an hour?
It went up to 100 and 1,000. It just keeps going.
Dude, it's just so. I'm like, sometimes I look at him. I'm like, buddy, can you chill?
No.
And he laughs like that. He laughs like, oh my gosh, you have your dad's laugh.
Oh yes, I do.
Oh, that is good. Oh, that's good. He's so incredible because he's like, David, it is important. Mm-hmm. Right? He's like, I'm glad to see you smiling. Even though you're in so much pain, which I am right now, if I focus on it, it's going to be worse.
Yes.
Distractions are important for the brain.
Yes, definitely.
Right? This and your nerves and your muscles, I believe that somehow in your brain, you're able to, like, focus on something else and distract yourself. What do you think that is in the brain? Do you think it's like pushing away things, or do you think it's just like allowing your brain to focus?
I would say it's probably another coping, if you would think about it as a
coping. Okay, coping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're basically showing your brain, hey, this is what I want to do. I know something's going on right now.
Even though there's thoughts, like, trying to go into your brain. Like, you're able to, in that activity, like when I was talking about coloring, that is a coping skill. Mm-hmm.
It's coping.
Huh. And is that good?
Yes, coping is very good, actually, because it helps you learn how to handle things that you wouldn't be able to handle without coping.
Okay. Huh. So, what are you most proud of?
Good question. Right now in my life,
Yes.
I would say I'm most proud of my degrees, because everywhere and everything I've done have led me to those degrees.
And it took effort, and it took work, right?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Were there nights where you were like, this is insane?
In fact, this last year was that, where I took on 6 classes. And I work. Every day I was doing homework, an assignment.
Oh.
And working.
Phew.
And I work from 7 in the morning to 6 at night.
When you say 6 college classes, my brain goes, no, no.
No.
My brain goes, exit mode, pull the ripcord. I am out of here. I'm jumping out of the plane. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Like, I got my degree. I have an associate's degree in general studies with the focus on human relations and things like that. And it was like, okay, so you open doors in life, right? And the first person I got to interview was Michael Franzese. He's an ex-mobster of the Colombo crime family, and he was my first interview, and I had 0 subscribers, almost no views, and he took the chance because I emailed him.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not his real email.
Yeah.
And he got back to me, I'm like,
you're like, okay.
this is real contact information. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like your dad always says, it's crazy. It's crazy, David. It's crazy. I'm like, yeah, buddy, it's crazy. And so, meeting him and, oh, wow, it's real.
Yeah.
And then his wife is his scheduler, and she got on the email, and I went, this is, okay.
You're like, huh?
Is this actually real, or am I getting catfished?
Right.
And I'm looking at the screen, and I'm like, it's him. I was like, oh no. Oh, what? That's really him. Yeah. And I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
My brain's like, this is not real.
Yeah.
And it was really him, and we talked for over an hour. And like that experience made my brain go, okay.
Yeah.
So like after I got back from Medtronic and I did the corporate thing and I was interviewed on the news, all these small things are building me up.
Yeah.
And Rod's like, we're launching back to that corporate point, David. We're gonna do it. I believe I can repeat that process. My brain went, climbing the mountain. I get to Medtronic, and then I go back down into the valley, and then I find another mountain.
And start climbing it again.
And I'm climbing it again, but this time I'm climbing it with Rod, and we're facing a massive mountain like Everest.
Yes.
And we are going to smash it to pieces. Because you know a little bit about what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And I just have such a strong belief in myself a lot of the times because your dad has helped me with it.
Yeah. And I've helped him with it a few.
See, so we all help each other.
Yeah, exactly.
I think, and I remember you when you were small.
Yes.
and your grandma was running around the kitchen, and you and I were running around the house, and I was running after you, and your grandma was laughing. She couldn't stop laughing. She's like, this is funny. And she's just cooking and doing her thing. She's like, I'm getting ready for the cook-off. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And she's like, just laughing at, I mean, her presence. I was talking to your dad about this, and I feel the presence of my grandma and your mom and Ronnie and Uncle Ronnie and Papa and Sonny and all that. I feel their energy all the time when I'm around your dad. There's just something, I look at him and I see every every bit of all of them in his eyes. Does that make sense, or am I weird right now?
You can see it. It's definitely palpable because my father has been through so much, and losing his mother and losing his father. I see it too. I see grandma in him. I see grandpa in him. I see everybody that he's been surrounded by all coming out in one. You can see it. He definitely radiates that love, that passion, that drive. He's got it from everybody. And that's why he is so capable of talking to you, how he talks to you, and bouncing off ideas. And he's so passionate about what he's doing. He didn't have that passion before. He didn't have it because he didn't know to have it when he was way younger.
See, both me and him are at a point where we now found what we need.
Yeah.
We both did. And when I look at him and I see my grandparents in his eyes, and the reason why I do is because he was around them.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the guy knows so many beautiful stories, and there's so many moments that he remembers about the family and everybody getting together and just the emotions. And when I look at him and I look at myself and I'm like, buddy, like, I can't believe what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people don't realize their potential.
I agree.
And a lot of people listen to other people's voices saying stuff, and they need to kind of understand that what you do with some feedback is you store it and then flush it out of the system.
Yes.
Right? Like a spam email, you just get rid of it.
Bye-bye.
So to me, our energies between each other, and that's why I mesh with him so well, is because I see that history.
Oh, yeah.
I just sense it. The way he talks and the way his intensity, like, it's good to have that intensity bounce back and forth. Oh, yeah. It's good to have ideas. Like, I'm always thinking of different ideas on where to film the podcast, and we did the hike podcast, and like I'm slowly getting better, and I'm getting better technology, and I'm slowly getting people that are giving us equipment.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I want to say is, this is how amazing your father is. I have a vehicle that breaks down a lot. I'm always working on it, breaking my back. My back always hurts, and I'm having to work on it. And he's like, David, but I don't want that for you. I don't want you to have to do that. And I look at him and I go, dude, I have to.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I don't want that for you. Like, he knows how much pain and how much I go through. And he's like, for example, my battery in my car was having some issues. come to find out, not only did I leave the lights on, but the connection to the ground is not fully tight. So when that happens, the alternator can't give it its full juice to keep the charge going. I've taught myself a lot. I've worked on my car a lot. Okay. I know I have tons of expensive tools and scanner and all that kind of stuff to do it myself. But yesterday I was like, man, I called him. I was like, I need to get a new battery. My battery's all messed up. I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's giggling a little bit because he's like, David, you're always like working on your car. And I was in a negative mindset, and he's like, it's okay, I understand. We'll figure it out. And then like literally he's like, he said a prayer, and then I put the battery back on the charger and it started working.
Huh.
And I was like, you
little. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and the other thing is, he's like, David, if you ever needed battery or an alternator or any car part, I'll put it on my charge card. Don't worry about it. And I look at him and go, I don't want that. But he looked at me and said, David, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what else are you going to do? Like, you're on a structured income. You can't, it's hard for you to deal with surprises like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, caught off guard. I was like, dude, like, your dad's heart is huge.
Yes.
And I have so much respect for him. And for him to say that, I'm like, all right, if I absolutely, like, if I have to, as a last resort, I'll call you and I'll say, hey, this is the problem, because I can fix it myself.
Yeah.
My buddy allows me to use his garage and his whole house. He's like, when I'm at work, just come to my house. Do whatever. Yeah, I have really good people like that. Like, I feel so lucky and honored and blessed that I have that.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to work on your car out in the front.
Yep.
Against the lease.
Yep.
Done. On the side of the road. Nope. Done. Can't do that. So my buddy finally looked at me and said, dude, just bring it over to my house. You're like 5 minutes away from here. Bring it over to my house. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Having good friends like that is important.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
For your mental health, for everything.
Yes.
But to have your dad say that to me, I was just like, dude. Like, just taken back. I'm like, buddy, I don't want that. But you know what? Sometimes in life, you have to realize you need the help.
Yeah. You have to be willing to accept that help because it's there. It's willing to help and be willing to accept.
But I don't want that.
Of course. You don't want it. But if something happens, that one instance of getting help will do a lot for you.
Yeah, but my mind goes like, I don't want to seem like I'm, like...
taking advantage, feeling like you're the person that's like,
yes.
Oh, hey, I lost this, I need this, like, oh, I have this, I need money, you don't want to feel like that.
Yeah. So how do I not feel like that?
Take it from someone who feels the same way. I don't like asking for help. I don't like needing help. But there have been times where I've needed it. And there have been times where I've asked for it. And the way I see it is I would rather go through my life saying, hey, you know what? I need to do things. I need to get life on track, but I can't do it by myself. I would rather be willing to accept the help, even if I'm gonna feel like, okay, well, I could have done this myself, or I could have figured this out. Because sometimes you can't. Sometimes putting yourself in the position where I feel like I can always do something, and reality being I can't always do something, is not a good position to put yourself in, because then you feel like, oh, something goes wrong, I'll fix it. Well, if you can't fix it, and then you put yourself in a worse position than if you would have just accepted the help and said, okay, this kind of makes me feel a little, I don't want to do this, I don't want to ask for this assistance, but having this assistance gives me a peace of mind. It gives me clarity. It gives me understanding that people care about me. You have to get rid of the thought of, I'm a burden. I'm a person that's just going to take advantage.
So, and what's funny is he said, David, I'm going to be like blessed. Like I feel like I want to do that. I want to help you.
Yeah.
If you need it, I have you. I got you, buddy.
And to look at it from my dad's perspective, my father was not a rich man.
I know.
He's gone through so much in his life that he hasn't been able to afford things. And for him to be able to say that is a big achievement for him. It's a big, like, oh my gosh, I can help people. I can do this. I can help others. And that's why he says that. Like, I want to help you, because he can. It's different than way back when he couldn't. And now that he can, he wants to spread that, because it's just money. And, it's different to him now. It's
just money.
To Dad, it's sometimes just money. It's not as important as the person he's helping.
It's just overwhelming.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be. And it is. It's weird to think of it just that way. But I would rather, give someone the shirt off my back than worry about the $20 it just costed me.
Because your dad every once in a while has given me a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's emotional for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't... What?
Yeah, like, what are you doing?
Like, why? And he just does it. But I know he's not where he fully wants to be. But he's like, David, we're gonna get there someday. And David, like, he's just so encouraging with all of his words and the way he acts. And for him to be willing to help me like that, like, there's only a couple people in my life that would do that.
Of course. Yeah.
And I don't want to ever call these people.
Yep.
It makes me cringe inside when I have to call certain people and ask them for help. It takes a lot of internal push inside myself to go, no, you need the help. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it alone. So there's a lot of lessons I continue to learn, even though I'm at my age of 36.
Oh, and you'll learn, as we all learn. You'll learn them all. We'll just keep learning. That's why with age comes wisdom.
Okay. We'll do another podcast again someday, okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to end today's podcast, and I usually do a prayer.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a prayer.
Okay.
Okay, so bow your head. Thank you, Lord, for allowing Cassidy and I to come today and tell people about lots of positive things rather than focusing on the negative, because the negative brings you to a dark spot. Lord, thank you for the breath that I have. Thank you for today. and just bless everybody all over the world and all that positive goodness that you spread with your word. Amen.
Amen.
And see you all later, guys. Bye-bye.